January the 30th, 2017. Guys, I've got an important message, and you're looking at what many have called the Albert Pike letter. I'm going to go through this. You've seen it on my channel before, but guys, we have witnessed since the 20th a paradigm shift in the world, and that was with the inauguration of Donald Trump. We're seeing protests around the country over this, but it is a minority. Even though some of the sanctuary cities seem to have a large protest, the Donald Trump voters are basically laying back, content with what's going on. But we must realize something, and it's very important, and what it has done, and why I say it's a major paradigm shift in power, physically and spiritually, is what is contained in the plans for the Third World War. Let's look at it. Now, just briefly, this letter was supposedly written by Albert Pike. Some say in the 1800s, some say in 1925 by a different author. Let me point out something, that it doesn't matter, because the information is extremely accurate, even if it was in the 1920s. But the First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia. Now, what happened in World War II, remember? And of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. Remember the Berlin Wall? The divergences caused by the agentur, or the agents of the Illuminati, between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. And there was a lot more that happened in World War II than just World War I, than just that. You know, there was disease spread and brought back to the United States. Bodies were stacked in the streets of New York like cordwood, is the words they used, from the flu and other diseases. And they used a lot of chemical weapons in the First World War, trench warfare. Then we go to the Second World War. It must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. We're talking about Germany, Israel. In a lot of ways, this war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. Guys, think about this. This didn't happen until actually 1947. It was brought up before the UN, but really declared in 48. And so there's no way at that time they could predict this unless they were behind the plots. And so understand what I'm talking about, because I'm just getting wound up for World War III and what they're trying to do. It says, again, you brought the end, or it said to destroy Nazism, and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state in Israel. Why? To create conflict, to put incompatible civilizations together. Incompatible totally. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check. What did he say? Restrained and held in check. How? We've seen that. Until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Okay, Christendom, Zionism, part of the end-time social cataclysm. Let's move on to what they're trying to do right now, and now they have suffered a major blow for the first time in the history of these first two world wars, moving into this one. Again, this is where they messed up. They did not estimate, or they underestimated the power of what they call Christendom. They underestimated it, and that's been Satan's downfall from the beginning, and it's going to be his downfall now, and I'm going to explain it. The Illuminati say the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused. What did I just say? They're causing differences, incompatible civilizations thrown together by mass immigration, caused by the ancient tour of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of who? The Islamic world. Suddenly now we have The political Zionists, who many say they run Washington as well as Israel, other places. So that's what we're talking about. And the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way. Thank you, Hillary Obama. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim, Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Now, since that time, again, Zionism is not just in Israel. Meanwhile, the other nations, listen, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. Think about that. What are we seeing on the streets of America now with the immigration policy? The airports are all being protested. You've got the Democrats coming out crying like Chuck Schumer. It's pitiful. They're pathetic losers. Now Obama comes out through one of his spokesmen and goes against this immigration policy guys and says that he is proud of America standing up against this and for them to continue to fight. Obama's going to end up in trouble over starting riots and inciting riots. He's going to be in trouble over this before it's over, mark my words. Now, meanwhile, the other nations, that includes us, divided on the issue we will have to fight. And here's where they're making their mistake, right here. We may fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. No way. No way. They're saying, because let me tell you, we will not tire. We will not be spiritually exhausted. All you guys are doing is strengthening us. We shall then unleash the nihilists and the atheists. Who do you think's running around burning buildings and smashing windows and protesting? And in the office of the Democrats. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm in which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Again, they've underestimated it. They think this thing is going to, because they've clashed these cultures on purpose to bring about this cataclysm, that we're going to be exhausted from it. Underestimated big time. And one of the reasons they're going to underestimate it is because we're going to expose it so that you're aware of it and you don't fall for it. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. Now listen, this is the paradigm shift, because the last time we talked about this letter, it seemed that we were the minority of revolutionaries. We were being called that by the Democrats. We were being called deplorables. We're not the minority anymore. So there's the other mistake. Then everywhere, let me start over. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. Right now we know who they are. They're the ones tearing up the buildings and the cars and blocking streets and airports. It says, we, the citizens, now it's us, we're not the minority, will be obliged to defend ourselves against this world minority of revolutionaries, and they are the minority. That's why they lost the election, and it wasn't just by a few votes. Nowhere near that. We know it was cheated. It says, the citizens will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. Think about that, and that's what we're seeing. These protesters now are not getting away with pushing and shoving like they did with Obama. They're being handcuffed and carried to jail. I've been watching it each day. The people are tired of it. The police are tired of it. They are locking people up on the border that were sneaking back in, that have been accused of child rape in the last few days, stopping it, rounding people up in New York that were on the FBI's most wanted list, some with a $500,000 reward out of California. But California wants to succeed. It says, we will exterminate the destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity. See, they got it wrong again, because with the paradigm shift, we became the minority. That threw an entire different equation into this problem for the Illuminati. Now, when they say disillusion with Christianity, they were thinking that we would be the minority and be defeated and be disillusioned with why weren't we protected by God. Then they say whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction. Wrong. We have a direction and we have a compass, and you have strengthened us. You have united us. Anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. Guys, Christians know about this doctrine of Lucifer, but they made the mistake. They think we will be defeated as a minority, disillusioned with Christianity. Wrong. It's becoming a Christian nation. The Illuminati have been dealt a deadly blow. The manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. It ain't going to happen. They messed up. But why would they want to destroy Christianity and atheism? Because atheists aren't going to worship Satan either, guys. But this is where we're at. I want you to read this, pay very close attention to it, and watch as it unfolds daily in the headlines. You're already seeing it. But we're not defeated, and we will not become disillusioned. Satan has made a mistake, and now he's going to pay for it. And the Illuminati will pay for it also. They're being more or less pulled out of the closet by, one thing, this immigration policy. They're showing their true colors. Schumer, Pelosi. Why do they want to destroy this country? Why do they want to do that? They're protesting, but they didn't protest when Obama stopped Iraqi refugees or anybody coming in for 6 months from there. Nobody said a word. The press was all good with it. Part of the Illuminati press that we see now. Mainstream media paid off, except for people like Breitbart, Fox, a few others. But guys, don't let them get away with this. And I feel certainly, with 100% certainty, that they have made a fatal miscalculation of God's people. It's a heads up. Be safe.